Hi, my name is Claire, and I'm 29 years old. I work a remote job as a customer support specialist, and I've been married to my husband Ryan for 3 years. We live in a beautiful house in Portland with his mother, Linda, who moved in with us shortly after our wedding. Oh, and I can't forget Max, my golden retriever. He's been my only source of comfort in this house for a long time. From the outside, my life might seem perfect, but behind closed doors, things are far from it. Ryan works in sales, and Linda likes to think of herself as the head of the household. To her, I'm just a guest, a freeloader who doesn't pull her weight. At least, that's what she tells everyone. What Linda doesn't know is that I've been secretly paying $3,000 every month to cover a big chunk of the household bills. I never told her because I thought it didn't matter. I wanted to help Ryan and his family without making a fuss about it. But instead of appreciation, I got constant criticism. This morning started like any other. I was sitting at the dining table sipping my coffee when Linda stormed in. Her face was red, and her tone was sharp. "You know, Claire," she said, crossing her arms, "you've been living here for free long enough. It's about time you contributed something to this house, or better yet, just leave." I froze, the coffee cup trembling in my hands. "Excuse me?" I asked, barely able to process her words. "You heard me," she snapped. "You're a freeloader, and this house isn't big enough for you and that dog of yours. If you can't contribute, pack your things and get out." Her words stung more than I wanted to admit. My chest tightened as I thought about the sacrifices I'd made to support this family, cutting back on my own needs, skipping vacations, even ignoring my savings goals. And now this. I set my coffee down and looked her straight in the eye. "I've been contributing, Linda. A lot more than you realize." She scoffed. "Oh, please. You're just making excuses." I wanted to scream, to show her the bank statements that proved I'd been quietly covering the bills for years. But I knew it wouldn't matter. Linda was the kind of person who saw only what she wanted to see. "You know what?" I said, standing up. "You don't have to worry about me freeloading anymore. I'll leave." Linda's eyes widened for a split second, but she quickly masked her surprise with a smirk. "Good. Don't forget to take that dog with you." I turned and walked upstairs, my heart pounding in my chest. Max wagged his tail as I entered the bedroom, but even his bright eyes couldn't lift my spirits. I sat on the bed, thinking about everything I'd done for this family and how little they appreciated it. That's when I made my decision. I wasn't just leaving, I was taking my power back. Before I packed my bags, I logged into my bank account. One by one, I canceled every automatic payment I'd set up for the house, the utilities, the groceries, even the mortgage. I stopped it all. If they wanted me gone, fine. But they'd feel the weight of what I'd been carrying for them. With Max by my side, I walked out of that house for the last time. My heart heavy, but my resolve stronger than ever. What I didn't know was that my departure would set off a chain of events no one could have expected. Leaving the house felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders, but it also left me with a swirl of emotions I couldn't ignore. Max trotted happily beside me, wagging his tail as if we were heading on an adventure. I wished I could share his optimism, but I was walking into an uncertain future with only a few bags, my laptop, and a dwindling savings account. I checked into a small, pet-friendly motel just outside the city. It wasn't glamorous, but it was quiet, clean, and gave me the space I needed to think. After settling in, I opened my laptop and sent a few emails to update my work address. I couldn't afford to let my job slip, not now. As the hours passed, I started to feel a strange mix of freedom and fear. For the first time in years, I wasn't tied down by the expectations of Linda or the constant pressure to keep peace in the house. Still, the thought of Ryan never standing up for me stung deeply. He had watched his mother belittle me for years and never once intervened. That silence was louder than anything Linda could ever say. The next morning, my phone buzzed. It was Ryan. I hesitated but finally answered. "What do you want, Ryan?" "Claire," he began, his tone frantic. "What did you do?" "The utilities have been shut off, and the bank is saying the mortgage payment hasn't gone through." "What's going on?" I let out a dry laugh. "Oh, so now you care about the bills? Funny how that works." Claire, this isn't a joke. Mom is freaking out. The electricity is gone. The fridge isn't working. Sounds like a problem for your freeloaders to figure out. I snapped, cutting him off. I was the one paying for all of that, Ryan.
Not you.
Not your mom.
Me.
And now you get to deal with it. There was silence on the other end. I could hear him breathing, trying to process my words. You were paying all that? Why didn't you tell me? Would it have mattered?
I said.
Linda had her mind made up about me, and you never stood up for me. So no, I didn't feel the need to share every detail. Claire, come home, he pleaded. We can fix this. I shook my head, even though he couldn't see me. There's nothing to fix, Ryan. I'm done being treated like I'm less than. You made your choice when you let your mother treat me that way. Now I'm making mine. I hung up before he could respond. Over the next few days, I started hearing bits and pieces about what was happening. Back at the house, Ryan sent text after text detailing the chaos. Linda had to borrow money from her sister to cover the overdue bills, and she was furious when she realized I wasn't coming back. One text caught my attention. She's blaming me for letting you leave. She's saying I ruined everything. Good, I thought. Let her see what happens when you push away the person holding everything together. One evening, as I scrolled through job postings online, my phone buzzed with an email notification. It was from an old friend, Megan, who I hadn't spoken to in years. She worked for a tech company in Seattle and had heard through the grapevine that I was looking for a fresh start. Claire, I heard you left Portland. We're hiring remote project managers, and I thought of you. Let me know if you're interested. It felt like a sign. I replied immediately, attaching my resume and thanking her for thinking of me. Within days, I had an interview lined up, and not long after, I was offered the job. The pay was nearly double what I had been making, and the flexibility was exactly what I needed. Just when I thought I was finally free of the drama, there was a knock on my motel room door. I opened it to find Linda standing there, her face pale and drawn. Max growled softly, sensing my tension. What are you doing here? I asked, keeping my tone cold. She clasped her hands nervously. Claire, we need to talk. I crossed my arms. About what? How I'm a freeloader? Or how you want me out of your life? Her eyes darted to the floor. I didn't know you were paying for everything. If you'd known, you would have treated me with respect. I finished for her. I doubt it. I'm sorry, she said, her voice shaking. Ryan and we need your help. We're losing the house.
Ich ser det her, dumbfundet.
You want me to come back and save you after everything you've done? Tears filled her eyes, but I didn't feel sorry for her. For once, I was standing on solid ground, and I wasn't about to give it up. I'll think about it, I said, shutting the door in her face. Max wagged his tail, as if he approved of my decision. This time, I wasn't going to let anyone take advantage of me again. I sat down on the motel bed, my hands trembling, not from fear, but from the adrenaline of finally standing up for myself. Max curled up beside me, resting his head on my lap as if to say, "You've got this." I couldn't stop thinking about Linda's words. We're losing the house. Part of me felt a tiny pang of guilt. After all, the house wasn't just walls and a roof. It had been my home too. But that guilt didn't last long. Linda and Ryan had never treated me like family. I was a paycheck to them, nothing more. Now that the money was gone, they were desperate. The next morning, I opened my laptop and logged into my email. My new job offer was still sitting there, waiting for my reply. Megan had been kind enough to hold the position open, giving me time to sort through my personal mess. I clicked accept without hesitation. It felt like a door was finally opening, one that would lead to a brighter, independent future. I packed my things, checked out of the motel, and drove to Seattle. Max was happy to ride along, his nose pressed against the window as we left Portland behind. 2 weeks into my new job, I was settling into my small but cozy apartment in Seattle. Life was quiet, peaceful, and completely mine. But the chaos I left behind in Portland was only growing. Ryan sent me sporadic texts, alternating between apologies and anger. Linda had stopped texting altogether, which I was grateful for. The last I heard, the utility company had shut off the gas, and they were struggling to keep the house from going into foreclosure. One day, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Claire. Ryan's voice came through the line, strained and desperate. I know you don't want to talk to me, but please, I need your help. Help, I said, my tone icy. Ryan, I already helped you for years. You just didn't notice. I was wrong, okay? I should have stood up for you. But the bank's threatening to repossess the house and my mom. His voice cracked. She's not handling it well. I sighed, gripping the phone tightly. Ryan, let me ask you something. If the roles were reversed and I treated you the way you and your mom treated me, would you help me? He was silent for a long moment. I don't know, he admitted quietly. Well, there's your answer, I said, hanging up. Weeks turned into months, and life in Seattle felt like a dream. My new job was challenging but rewarding, and for the first time in years, I was saving money instead of funneling it into someone else's life. Max had a new routine too, long walks in the park and a backyard to run around in. One evening, as I scrolled through social media, I stumbled upon a post from one of Ryan's cousins. It was a picture of the house I had left behind. The caption read, "Moving day. Hard to say goodbye to so many memories, but sometimes life forces us to start over." I clicked on the photo, staring at the empty driveway and the for sale sign in the yard. They had lost the house after all. A few days later, there was a knock on my door. I wasn't expecting anyone, so I cautiously peeked through the peephole. To my shock, it was Ryan. "What are you doing here?" I asked, opening the door just enough to show my face. "I just wanted to see you," he said, his shoulders slumped. He looked thinner, more tired than I'd ever seen him. "We lost everything, Claire. The house. The car. Mom had to move in with her sister." I crossed my arms. "And what does this have to do with me?" "I just wanted to say I'm sorry," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "You didn't deserve what we put you through." It was the first time I'd heard those words from him. And while part of me wanted to forgive, another part knew better. "I appreciate you saying that," I said, my voice firm.
But I've moved on, Ryan.
"And I think you should too." He nodded, a sad smile on his face. "Take care, CLA, and thank you for everything." As he walked away, I felt a strange sense of closure. The chapter with Ryan and Linda was finally over. And for the first time in a long time, I felt truly free. Months later, I was sitting in my backyard sipping coffee as Max played in the grass. My phone buzzed with a text from Megan. "Guess what? We're expanding to the East Coast, and I'm recommending you for a leadership role." I smiled, looking out at the horizon. Life wasn't perfect, but it was mine. And that was more than enough. The leadership role Megan mentioned was a huge step forward, but it came with its challenges. Moving to the East Coast meant uprooting my newly built life in Seattle. But it also meant doubling my salary and stepping into a position of authority I had only dreamed of before. After a long night of weighing my options, I made my decision. I was going to take the leap. 6 months later, Max and I were settling into a chic apartment in Boston. My new position as a project director had me leading a team of 30 people. The work was demanding, but every day I felt more confident and capable. Max seemed to love the change too, especially the nearby dog park, where he made plenty of new furry friends. One evening, after wrapping up a video call with my team, I received an unexpected email. It was from Linda. The subject line read, "A final request." My heart sank as I debated whether to open it. Curiosity got the better of me, and I clicked. "Dear Claire, I hope this message finds you well. I know I don't deserve your kindness or forgiveness, but I need to say a few things that have been weighing on my heart. Losing the house and everything else was a wake-up call for me. I've had to reevaluate the way I treated you, and I realize now how wrong I was. You are more of a daughter to me than I ever admitted, and I'm ashamed of how I let my pride ruin our relationship. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I want you to know that I'm trying to be better. If you ever feel like reconnecting, I'd be grateful for the chance to make things right. Take care, Linda." I stared at the email for a long time, unsure how to feel. Part of me wanted to ignore it. But another part knew that forgiveness wasn't about her, it was about me. I didn't have to respond right away. And I didn't have to reconnect if I didn't want to. For now, I let the email sit in my inbox, a reminder that even the most toxic people could change, or at least try to. One sunny Saturday morning, I was walking Max through the park when I heard a familiar voice call my name. I turned to see Megan jogging toward me, her face lighting up with excitement. "Claire," she exclaimed, "I can't believe I ran into you. How's Boston treating you?" We spent the next hour catching up, sitting on a bench as Max lay at my feet. Megan told me about her latest projects and how proud she was to see me thriving. It reminded me of how far I'd come since leaving Portland. Before we parted ways, Megan said something that stuck with me. "You've got this energy about you now, Claire, like you're finally free. Don't ever let anyone take that away." 1 year later, I was invited to speak at a tech conference in New York. Standing on stage, looking out at a sea of eager faces, I couldn't help but think about how far I'd come. The girl who had once been called a freeloader was now leading teams, inspiring others, and living life on her own terms. As the audience applauded, I smiled and thought of Linda's email. I never replied to it, but in my heart, I'd forgiven her.
She didn't need to know that.
I did it for myself, not for her. Life didn't just move on, it blossomed. I turned the pain of my past into fuel for my future. Max and I had built a happy life together. One filled with new adventures, meaningful work, and friendships that felt more like family than anything I'd left behind. Linda and Ryan became nothing more than distant memories, a chapter in my life that had closed for good. And every time I thought about their accusations of freeloading, I couldn't help but laugh. The best revenge wasn't anger or bitterness. It was success. And I was living proof of that.